Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 29, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 203 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm gonna mention, as I mentioned in every video on this channel, I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from Shashipal5674. Sir, my case is F3 and my priority date is July 2012. Sir, my case is approved and now my case was in NVC. Sir, I got also case number and invoice ID since May 2021. So sir, my question is when my case started, please, and I am from India. Okay, so let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on for the F3 India chargeability area. So let's see, F3 looks like India is the same as all chargeability, so January 2010, and you are in 2012. Okay, so you still have about, so you're in July and this is in January, so a little bit less than 2 years you still have before becoming current, roughly. That is a rough estimate because sometimes visa bulletin moves more than 1 month. But if we see for the next 2 years, 1 month's movement every month, which is a consistent movement, you have about a little bit less than a year. I would say a year and a half because it's in January and you are in July. But let me take a look at the graph B and see if your NVC portal is supposed to be open already or not. And looks like it's showing this June 2010. So you're June 2010 and it's January 2010. So it looks like it's not updated yet. So yeah, graph B doesn't seem it is updated yet. So we will have to wait and see when your NVC portal is going to be opening up. But because there is a little bit of time to wait for the backlog still for you, it sounds like your NVC portal still did not open up. You did receive it in you did receive the welcome letter, but your NVC portal is not open yet. And I'm thinking you should have it opened up probably, possibly by the end of this year. If not by the end of this year, I'm thinking in the beginning of next year. So you can start your documentary qualification process. So I would say right about now, I would start doing the research on what documentary qualification process entails. I have the video on this channel that shows the open NVC portal where you can see the forms that you need to submit. DS260, I have a video on this channel for DS260, affidavit of support, what civil documents, what financial documents, what kind of fees you need to pay. So if you can start preparing that right now, when the NVC portal opens up, you can submit it all quick, and be prepared for it, and have your documentary qualification process completed smooth and quick. All right, so let me post a response here and we're gonna move on to the next one from Khan 3473. Sir, I'm from Pakistan. My visa is F11, so F1, subcategory 1. Priority date is September 2014 and documentarily qualified is October 2022. Islamabad Embassy, when can I expect my visa interview? Okay, let's take a look at F1. You're in September 2014. I'm thinking you should be already current because as of May 2024, F1 is on July 2015. July 2015, and you are, my friend, in September 2014. So I know there was some sporadic movement for F1 especially. I think F1 moved in the past few months. It moved like 6 months ahead, maybe more. Can't remember all of the categories off the top of my head. So we can't say for sure that you have been current now for over 6 months because, sometimes visa bulletin, it doesn't move. Sometimes it moves 3 months ahead. Sometimes it moves 6 months ahead. Sometimes it retrogresses, all right? But the most important thing is that you are already current and you've been current now for at least few months. which is definitely good news. You're documentarily qualified, you're current on the visa bulletin, which means your immigrant visa is already available, and most likely the US Embassy in Islamabad, they already scheduled your interview. Now, not so good news is that at least as far as I know from the comments that I receive from people from Pakistan, US Embassy in Islamabad, they seem to be quite busy and people waiting for quite some time before the interview is scheduled, after becoming current, after their immigrant visa is available. So potentially you're looking at another year and a half, maybe even 2 years before your interview is announced to you, not scheduled, because like I said, most likely it is already scheduled or might be scheduled within the next few months. It's just you're not going to know when it is scheduled for, because they cannot announce officially the interview more than 30 days before the actual interview. So let's say if your interview was scheduled, for example, for July 2025, all right, you're only going to find out in June 2025 that your interview is scheduled for July 2025. It is unfortunate because it keeps all of us in the dark for so long, but hopefully this is going to change. There is a conversation, Department of State, Department of Homeland Security, whoever's making these decisions, there is a conversation to increase that amount of time from 30 days to 6 months. The reason why they schedule 30 days in advance is because you have to do the medical examination within the 30 days. They're planning to increase it to 6 months. Honestly, they could have just announced the interview date as soon as they scheduled it, and then we do the medical examination 30 days before the interview. Doesn't change anything. But I guess it's not possible. So yeah, unfortunately we have to be in the dark, for a very long time, which is kind of sad. But the good news for you is that that's it. You're current, you're documentarily qualified. So really the only two things left is to get through that medical examination and then to get through that interview. So you're almost there. All right, let's move on to the next one from K Turton Videos. K Turton, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. I appreciate that. So K Turton says, hey man, I'm F2A category. My priority date is May 16, 2021. My case shows as of February 20, 2022, we are actively reviewing your Form I-130. Our records show nothing is outstanding at this time. We will let you know if we need anything from you. Now that F2A is current for my priority date, is there anything I need to do or be aware? Thank you, K Turton, you're looking good. Honestly, that message that you're receiving is a really generic message. And it's so generic, in fact, that it really doesn't make any sense, because your I-130 has already been approved by USCIS way long time ago, because you're already documentarily qualified, which means that your I-130 was approved by USCIS and transferred to the NVC, and the portal was open, and you're documentarily qualified, and now you're just waiting for interview. So, but this is most of the times the case. We're just, they're kind of. Sometimes, for some people, I guess it might have to do with the country that you're from. For example, whenever I was petitioning for my cases, my personal cases, we did not get any of these notifications whatsoever, any of these messages. Some people get like a 60-day, every 60 days they get like, oh, we are, you're in line for the interview, whatever. I didn't get those. So some people get these messages, some people don't, but at the end of the day, what matters is that you're already documentarily qualified, your priority date is current, so immigrant visa is available depending on the country where you're from. It will heavily depend on how fast the interview is going to be announced to you. It might be already scheduled, but you're not going to hear it up until 30 days before the actual interview date. So as of right now, honestly, for you, there's really not much to do. Do the research on the medical examination. Check out who the authorized, whatever they're called, civil surgeons, I guess, the clinics that do these medical examinations, just so that you know who to reach out to, who to schedule the appointment with. I have a few videos on preparing for the I-130 interview, so check out those. And yeah, that's really it. So Yeah, you're looking good. Once you do get your interview scheduled, please come back to this channel. Let everybody know. And for everyone who's watching these videos, if your interview has been scheduled, please leave a comment with the country that you're from and or the beneficiaries from and how long you waited for the interview to be scheduled. That would be very helpful because personal testimonies like this of people how long they're waiting are the best indicator for someone in that country to know approximately how long they will be waiting for. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Arslan Leila. Thank you for the answer. You're a great man. God bless you. God bless. Thank you very much. I'm glad this was my answer was helpful. Moving further to Ademola Malik. Ademola Malik. I think that's how it is. 5322. My I-130 case was denied based on abandonment. Oh man, because they requested for a document and was sent by our lawyer, but USCIS claimed they didn't receive the document. So we filed an I-290B. Now my question is, do you think my case is going to be reopened and how long? Ademola Malik, thank you very much for your question. That's a really good question. So here's the thing whenever it comes to the I-290s, is that you really don't know. There is no specific time frame for those. Sometimes they can be reviewed pretty quickly. And yes, there are, I've seen cases that, especially in situations like yours, where the document has not been initially received or claimed not to be received. And honestly, I hate to say it, but this is on your attorney because they should have followed up. It shouldn't have been the situation like this. They should have followed up with USCIS and made sure that the document was received. And if it wasn't received, then they should have sent it again. So it's definitely on them. But whatever. Sometimes the attorneys, they help us. Sometimes they make it worse, unfortunately. But with the I-290Bs, there is no special time frame. So you can have a case that is, the I-290B that is reviewed within few months, and then the action is taken on it. And I've seen cases where it sits there for 2 years and it's not reviewed for absolutely no reason. And it is unfortunate. I'm not sure exactly what it depends on. It is very possible that depending on which service center, so whichever state you're from, which service center your application has been processed at, so it might depend on that, but again, it's really hard to tell. So potentially, you might be looking better at simply reapplying and submitting a new I-130. From the very beginning, with all of the documents already there. Honestly, again, I'm going to point it out to your attorney, why is the document missing from initial I-130 application? That is a problem. Because when you are submitting an application, you already know what documents are required. Especially if you're working with an attorney, there is absolutely no excuse for an attorney to send an application with the document missing and then wait for a USCIS to reach out and say, hey, we are missing this document, we need this document. There is absolutely no reason to create such a delay. Absolutely no reason. So, how long ago did that I-290B was sent? I would say if it's been a few months, at least 3 months, I would say reach out, follow up on the I-290B, and if it has not been addressed yet, then potentially look at resubmitting the I-130 case. So completely new case from the scratch. Yes, it is annoying because you have to redo the whole thing, and you have to pay the fees again. Yeah, it is annoying. It's definitely not very pleasant. But on the plus side, you know exactly which documents are needed. You can submit a strong application from the very beginning, and I always mention that in these videos on this channel. I mention it quite often. Try to avoid, whenever you're submitting the applications, try to avoid sending the incomplete packages. You're making it a lot worse because the initial review is always faster and more efficient than the immigration officer coming back to your case, reopening it, because they have to reopen it, they have to they have to re-review the case basically so this was the original case. Oh, so was missing. Okay, did they send what's missing? Oh, okay, so we received what's missing. Let's add it to the case. Try to avoid these things. So yeah, Ademola Malik, sorry you're dealing with this, but yeah, I would definitely suggest, if it's been a few months, reach out to USCIS, see if they have received I-290B, see if the case will be reopened or not. Follow up yourself. Don't rely too much on your attorney, because I don't know. So far, to me, this is questionable stuff. When stuff like this happens and you're working with an attorney, it's questionable. If you're doing it by yourself, I understand. When I was starting my immigration path in this country, I made a lot of mistakes. And I was working with a lot of attorneys too, and they made a lot of mistakes. But it is one thing that I myself was not experienced, I did not know, and I did not submit something, I did not, do something correctly. And then you have an attorney who is supposed to be a professional, who's supposed to be an expert in these things, and they do not submit something. It makes no sense. Okay, let's move on to the next one from user, sorry, no name. Hello, Mr. J. I'm not sure who Mr. J is. My friend was filed for June 14, 2007, and he got no call or email from NVC. Is something wrong? Okay, so June 14, 2007 is quite a long time ago. So I'm assuming your friend must be in one of the categories or a chargeability areas that has extended backlog. So what I need to have, I need 3 pieces of information in order to take a look at the visa bulletin and give you rough estimates. Is the family preference category, the chargeability area, and the priority date. So if you can let me know these 3 things, I can take a look and give you still a very rough estimate, but at least something. All right, let's move on to the next one from Goodwin Johnson 2851. I'm applying for change of status as a VAWA, self-petitioner, abused spouse of a US citizen, and on the fee schedule it's 0 charges, but I want to be sure how true this is to guide against my application being rejected. Godwin Johnson, well, first of all, I want to say sorry that you even have to deal with such an application, but yes, it is definitely 0. There is no charges for sure for the victims of domestic abuse. It's a 0, so everything is correct. So yeah, let's move on. Looks like there's a comment under the comment, so please, if you're asking questions, don't post it under the comments of other people, just submit it as a separate comment. So documentarily qualified 1 year for my family, hot topics, Jamaica, can you help me the interview date? Okay, so Olive Basco, so the same thing I need 3 things to give rough estimates. It is the family preference category, so F1, F2A, F2B, F3, F4, priority date, and then the chargeability area. So please let me know. I'm gonna post the answer to Godwin Johnson here, and let's see if I can respond to this more. I'll just post it like this, and hopefully, yeah, I'll edit it with the name so it's a little bit more clear. Let's move on to the next one from Jahion D. I'm from Jamaica. My wife gonna file the I-130 petition. What's the timeline for a person in Jamaica to finish? Okay, thank you for your question. So I know Kingston, Jamaica, U.S. Embassy in Kingston, they are quite busy embassy. I do get a lot of questions from people from Jamaica. And as far as it seems like, it's somewhere between 1.5 years and 2 years for the interview to be scheduled. However, before the interview is scheduled, you also have the I-130 process, which will depend on whether or not your wife is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. Because if your wife is a US citizen, in that case you are in immediate relative category, which means as soon as the I-130 is approved, the immigrant visa is available. So everything is pretty streamlined. You still have to go through the NVC, you still have to become documentarily qualified, but you are not dealing with the backlog at all. However, if your wife is a US permanent resident, in that case you are in F2A category, and for F2A category looks like there is roughly about 3-year backlog. So there is additional 3 years that you are waiting. Now these 3 years, obviously they kind of go along with the time that I-130 takes to process, because once the I-130 is received by USCIS, that's your priority date. And obviously while the I-130 is pending, while it's approved, transferred to the NVC, while you're dealing with documentary qualification, all that time, of course, it goes towards the backlog. So all in all, it's not going to be as much as you're waiting for 3 years. You will be overall the process. It will take that long, but the processing of the I-130 and dealing with the NVC is not going to be on top of that time. So it's not going to be as much of a noticeable. But you still will wait a little bit more than if you would have been in immediate relative category. So if you want, let me know whether or not she's a permanent resident or US citizen. But hopefully from now you can kind of estimate approximately how long you will be waiting overall for the whole process to be completed. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Looks like 2 comments from Adu Sabubekar. MA, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Post this here. We're gonna move on to the next one from Godo Fredo Francisco. I have been living here in California for 20 years and I'm undocumented, and now I'm already 50 years old. What are my chances of getting a green card or adjustment of status? Godo Fredo, so I would say, if you are looking into which you should. It's a good thing that you're now looking into legalizing and getting your permanent residence, but definitely need to reach out to the immigration attorney whenever it comes to being outside of the status, whether you're outside of the status for 1 week or 20 years, as long as you are. Definitely reach out to an immigration attorney. I do have a video on this channel how to shop for an immigration attorney, what things to look for, because I worked for a few. They worked for me, for a few of them while I was going through my immigration process. But yeah, you definitely need an immigration attorney in your situation. But the good news is that once you decide to, I don't want to say do things the right way, because it will imply that you did something the wrong way, and I'm no one to judge you and about your circumstances or what happened, how it happened, because things happen. But nevertheless, once you do decide to take this path of okay, now I want to become documented, and I want to have employment authorization document, I want to have the permanent residence, I want to do everything the right way, there's always a way. All right, so that's definitely the good news. But you definitely need to shop around for an immigration attorney. The good news is that a lot of immigration attorneys, they offer free consultation, which is what I recommend in the video where I talk about finding a good attorney. Is just find 5 different attorneys in your area that you can talk to over the phone that schedule free consultation. Go have conversations with them, see what kind of options, because everybody, depending on what they're more experienced in, they will have different options for you. And yeah, go from there. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a long process, but trust me, it's worth it. All right, let's move on to the next one from Clay Loot. Great video, thanks. I wonder if I can just drive to the border and ask them to print me out a copy. I'm not that far away. Clay, I don't know. Honestly, I would not, I would not do that. Just call them. I'd probably stay away from the border. But I don't know. I guess if you want to visit, there's nothing wrong. But still, reach out to them over the phone in advance just to make sure. All right, let's move on to the next one from Try and Get monetized. 7844. We have been documentarily qualified since December of 2023. Our priority date is December 14th, 2020. I think our family preference is F2A, but I'm not sure. My wife is from Nigeria. I'm from US. I'm the petitioner. She's the applicant. All right, so I'm pretty sure your family preference is F2A. If you want to make sure, once you log into your NVC, which you're already documentarily qualified, but you still should have the access to the NVC profile. It says it's right there at the top right corner. Now, I'm pretty sure you're F2A for another reason is because you've been waiting now for quite a long time. You've been waiting for, well, since December 2020, so over 3 years now. And if you were immediate relative category, if you were a US citizen, she would have been in the immediate relative category and it would have been processed faster. But on the plus side, the priority date, I'm pretty sure you're already current. Let's take a look. So you're from Nigeria. Well, you guys are from Nigeria. So all chargeability area, that would be, let's see. So June 2021 is currently as of May 2024 is the priority date that is becoming current. And you are December 2020, so about 6 months ahead. Again, F2A has been moving quite sporadically in the past few months, so it's not an exact number. But what's important is that your wife is already current on the visa bulletin, already documentarily qualified, so the immigrant visa is already available for her. So most likely the interview is already scheduled. Now, depending on how long ago she became current, it depends on how long she'll be waiting for her interview. Probably there is still some time to wait. Potentially the interview might be by the end of this year, but I think most likely you're looking, I'm not sure how busy US Embassy is in Nigeria. And again, if someone is from Nigeria who had their interview scheduled, please comment underneath or on this video and let us know how long you waited for your interview. But I'm thinking more realistically, you're looking at the beginning of 2025 for her interview to be scheduled. Again, it is already scheduled or will be scheduled in the next couple months, but you're not going to find out when it was scheduled for up until 30 days before the actual interview. Okay, let me post a response here and we're gonna move on to the next one from Masood Khan. Thanks, brother, for your reply. Masood, you're always welcome. Thank you for watching. Moving further to the next one from Bhagwati Sahadeo. Hi, sir. Good night. My priority date, November 2015. Documentarily qualified June 2023. How long more do I have to wait? Okay, Bhagwati. So if you can, please let me know your family preference category, because your priority date is 2015, and for 2015 there's quite a few. F1, you can be F1, you can be F2B, F3, F4. So please let me know what the priority, what I already know the priority date, but please in the comment again post 3 things: family preference category, your priority date once again, and the chargeability area. And I'll take a look at the visa bulletin and let you know. So let me post the response here. I'll say more info needed. And we're gonna move on to the next one from Romel Kuyap 5479. Romel, thank you for being publicly subscribed. Appreciate that. So Romel says, F2A, my priority date December 12, 2018, documentarily qualified November 6, 2023. Okay, so F2A, let's take a look. You're being current. If you're in all chargeability area, which I think it's all the same, yeah. So only Mexico is about 6-7 months behind, but everybody else looks like on the same on June 2021, and you are in December 2018. Yeah, so you have been current for some time now. So your interview has been already scheduled, and well, you were documentarily qualified November 2023, which is 1 + 4, so like 5-6 months ago you've been documentarily qualified, which is definitely great news. So yeah, I'm pretty sure your interview is already scheduled. You're just waiting on announcement when it was scheduled for, and you're not gonna get it up until 30 days before the actual interview date. So depending on which country you're from, where the US Embassy is, that's really what it depends on, you know, how long you'll be waiting for your interview. So once again, if you're watching this and if your interview has been scheduled, please share in comments underneath. Just say the country that you're from and how long you waited for that interview, because that is the best indicator. The people who are in the countries waiting for their interviews and getting their interview scheduled, they are the best indicator to know how long it takes in that particular country, because it's very country specific. So thank you very much everyone for all your questions. Hopefully my answers were helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to post them in the comments below. Just make sure not to respond to my comment within your comment, because YouTube does not send me notification for those. Just make sure to post it as a separate comment. So again, thanks for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.